My name is Debbie and this is Pouring My Art Out for the Lord. I was watching an older video by, I'm probably saying it wrong, Joey DeFee. I'm not sure what happened to her. She did a video and said that she was ill, and then she hasn't made a video for a long time, so I really enjoyed watching her from time to time. She had a really unique style. So hopefully she'll come back at some point. If anybody knows anything more about her, comment below and let me know. Anyway, she had made a Masterboard, and I thought it was a really neat way to do it. And I haven't seen this before. Instead of having a base, which I usually do, she just used book page. So she put about 3 layers of book page glued together. And then she had some different things that she put on top, but I adapted it because I'm doing my neutral, my quick neutral mass makes series, so I wanted some neutral stuff here. So here's the start of my Masterboard. I'm not finished with it yet, but I thought I would show you how to make this because I'm really pleased with how it's supple, but it's strong at the same time. And I think this will be great for some ephemera. So I'm just going to show you the process here. You can use any book page that you want. I'm using some Bible book page here. This is an old Bible that I have been picking apart for quite some time already. It was just a paperback Bible that was not in the greatest of shape. I think I picked it up at a thrift shop. So you just grab a piece of paper. She just used wet glue, and I'm just going to use my Elmer's Glue All. So she just put one page, she just put it on her grid, and I'm going to build mine on my glass mat here. So I'm just going to kind of line up one piece square in the corner there. And then I'm going to take another piece and just kind of overlap it a little bit. And because you've got 3 layers going on top, 2 or 3 layers, you don't have to be really fussy with the gluing initially, which I thought was kind of genius. So I'm just going to glue this on there and then just kind of make a grid. You can have pages that are upside down, right side up. What do I want here? If you have it glued to your glass mat, if you're using a glass mat, it doesn't really matter. The glue will dry and it will come up quite easily, but probably if you can avoid that, it's even easier. Take this one this way. And just kind of try to keep it, if you want it square, you know, kind of keep it squared up on your, I'm just building the whole size of the grid on my mat here, my glass mat. So I'll just speed this up while I finish putting this Masterboard together, the base layer. So I got 2 layers done. So I'll do my final layer. And when I do my final layer, I just make sure that I have glue fairly close to the edge on all of the edges, and then, you know, a little bit of glue inside. And then I kind of pay a little more attention to just lining things up right, because this is going to be the layer that shows. This particular book or Bible has a bunch of diagrams on it, which I think are kind of cool. So I try to, if there's a page that has a diagram on one side, I usually try to use that page facing up. If your pages are a little bit ripped, it's totally fine. Doesn't have to be glued every square inch. What I did on my first one is just kind of worked around the edge first, on the final layer especially. And then I know that I've got that covered. And then I'll do just fill in wherever needs to be filled into the center. Okay, so I got my 3 layers basically done, and it's already, you know, quite a, you know, substantial piece, just gluing those 3 layers together, but of course it needs to dry. So I'm just going to put this aside to dry, and I'm going to work on the next part of the Masterboard. Okay, and then the next thing I did is I took some very inexpensive watercolor paper. It wouldn't have to be watercolor paper, but a little bit thicker because we're going to use water. But this watercolor paper, I'm not sure if it's still available, but I bought it at Dollarama for $3.25 for 20 sheets. And it's 300 GSM, so it's a really nice thick weight. It's probably not the greatest quality watercolor paper, but for this kind of technique, it works perfectly fine. So there's a textured side and a smooth side. You can decide which side that you want to work on. I like the textured side. And I'm just going to get all of my distress inks in my neutral colors. So I'm making a neutral Masterboard, and I wanted all of the colors to stay fairly neutral, so that they will fit into the neutral journal that I'm making right now, Ponder the Word. So I'm just going to take all of my distress inks, I'm going to take the lid off, and I'm going to stamp it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just give it a good press on there. Grab another one. Oops. Just kind of roughly lined up, but not perfectly. So I have black and different sorts of brown. I don't think I have gray, which would work well. I do have, oh, but that's permanent, so that's not going to work. So each one and you know, this layer is just pretty much getting some color onto your Masterboard. So you don't have to do it this way. You can use anything that you want to add a little bit extra color. You can paint right on your Masterboard. This is kind of sort of the way that I saw Joey do it. It was a little different. And she did some painting and fancy things, but I'm just going to do the stamping block. Then I'm just going to wet a paintbrush, and I'm just going to spread that ink around. Some of them don't spread really well on this textured watercolor like this, but that's okay. So I'm just going to spread them. I think it gives a really cool effect with that textured background, and some of them, you know, you can see that like the extra texture here in the black. Just really cool. Just gonna keep putting these down. If you feel like you didn't get a good impression, you can kind of do what I just did there. Kind of squish it on a little bit. I'm gonna put some on the end there, just to kind of fill it up with a little more color. Alright, so then I'll do the same thing with the water, just basically wet it in the block-ish. It's just going out of the lines a little bit, which is fine. I'm going to take it out of the lines in a minute too. So I got just different browns and grays and black, and then when I've got those all finished, I'm just going to kind of take a little bit out of the blocks. Doesn't have to be perfect, just a little bit so that it's not completely stark white here. So I'll just get the paintbrush a little bit muddy in some of these areas and just take it a little bit out of the Sometimes I just like to play with color like this. It just, you know, super freeing, definitely not in the lines. Although you could do this, I mean, anyway, people have made masterboards and, you know, this sort of thing in many, many different ways. So then I'm just going to let this dry. And then what I did on here, this is exactly the same process, is I took the board when it was dry, I stamped on it. So I just stamped some kind of coffee stained circles with some, I think I used ground espresso for those. And then I took some black soot ink and I just used a script stamp and stamped on this paper, and then I just ripped it up into different sized squares, and using the same glue I just glued it in various places on the masterboard. So that's how I got to this stage. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit more texture onto this masterboard. So I have this just journaling lines stamp, and I have a big archival ink in black here. So I'm just going to ink up just a part of the lines and just stamp it here and there just to add a little more texture in the background. All right, that looks good to me. So I'll put that one away. And I also have these large number stamps that I had purchased a long, long time ago. I think it was part of a calendar set or something like that. So I thought I would just do a couple of numbers as well, just for a little bit more bold. Texture, different kind of texture. So yeah, perfect. I like that. My work surface is not quite big enough for all my stuff here. So So just here and there. I'm probably not in frame half the time here. So I'm just going to take another, that was the number 3. Maybe I'll take a number 7. 7's a nice number. I don't think I've ever used this one. Okay. Maybe I'll do some beside the 3s. Like that. And then maybe just a few on their own as well. And maybe one more number. Maybe number 5. 3, 5, and 7. All right. It's kind of risky doing something like this on camera when you've never really done it before, because you're not sure how it's going to turn out. But I'm good with however it turns out. It's kind of an experiment. And then I have this stamp from Local King Rubber Stamps. They're a Canadian company, and I have actually purchased quite a few of their stamps over the years. They have local shows and you can buy their stamps. And they have a whole bunch of background stamps and really good images as well, but they're probably not that well heard of in other parts of the world. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to take this one and I'm going to actually use black paint because I want this to be even a little stronger than the ink. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my paintbrush and just try to just paint kind of the tops of this bumpy texture. It's kind of like doing splatters, a little bit more control. Don't like that paintbrush. Just see if this one will work better. I think that'll work better. Trying just to mostly get the tops of these dots here. Of course, use any stamps that you have. You can make your own stamps. You can just do splatter. You can, do, any kind of found objects to make marks. Circle marks are always good, and anything like that. Okay. So there's my first one, and I'm just going to see how this works. So let's see. Yes, perfect. So I'm going to try to do a couple impressions. Yes, that works out really well. I think that looks good. So I'm just gonna go clean up my stuff here and I'll be right back. So my paint is dry. Didn't take very long because it's not on that thick. This is too big to go into my cutting mat, and I'm not sure how it's going to act in my cutting mat yet either, but we'll see. So I just turned it around and I lined it up on my grid, marked it at 11 inches top and bottom, and I'm just going to cut on that line. I don't know, have you ever seen somebody do this kind of blindly? They have this thing where they, instead of cutting, oh, sorry about that. Instead of cutting it this way so you know what you're getting, you kind of, you know, find your way in between, you know, you think that's going to look good. You just do it on the opposite way, and then you don't know what you're going to get. So I'm going to try that. So I'm just going to do maybe a 3-inch. Oh, perfect. This works so well. So there's just a 3-inch by 5-inch piece. That's a nice size piece, actually. Let's do another one of those. 3 inches. And I'll do one more 3-inch, 3 by 5, and then this is 4 3/4. So I'm going to do 2.5 here. You might have little pieces like this that come off, which is totally fine. Very nice size piece, I think, for that. And then this one, I'm going to make a few square pieces. So I think I'll do 2.5 square. A couple. I'll just leave this one a little longer. Maybe I'll do 3.5-inch square. Or is that too big? Maybe I'll do. Oh, that protested a little bit. 3.5. Maybe a couple of those. I'll leave that one like that. Maybe do something a little narrower, 2 inches. I think 5.5 is half of this. So those ones. This is now about 6. So let's do a couple 3 by 6 here. And I'm going to do one more 3 by 6 and then one more narrow here. So let's see what we got. Lots of pieces. So I think they all have interest on them because they all, I did the pattern enough so that all of them have some of the different pieces on it. So I'm happy with how those turned out. And then you can do various things. You can back them with something if you want to use it for like a writing space, which I probably will for some. Let's see how it works with the corner rounder. It works well. So that one has some rounded corners. I'm going to do that to some of these smaller ones, or the square ones. I'm going to use my little angle shape for a couple here. Make those into like a tag shape. Okay, I'm just going to count how many I have here. So 1, 2, see this one is really quite stiff, whereas this one it probably was only 2 layers in the middle maybe. That one, if I wanted to make it into a tag, I probably would support the center, whereas this one is, I just got this more there as well, but it's very firm. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 pieces. So I'm also going to sew on these pieces. And I'm just trying to decide if I should do that first. I think I will. I think I'm going to sew on them next. And then I'll be right back. Okay, I've got them all sewn around, and that adds a little bit more structure to them as well. A couple of them that are meant to be tags, like this one, I will probably back anyways, or put something there that will stiffen it a little bit. But then I started thinking about what do I want to put on these guys for focal points and stuff. So I dug out, I've been making lots of clusters lately, as you can see, lots and lots of clusters. So I thought, why don't I just see if I can put some clusters on here. I do want some of these to be very neutral still, for my neutral journal, or with a touch of navy, because my journal is going to have a touch of navy on it. But see, like that looks, I think that looks really good as a tag. I could put some kind of a ribbon or something up there. Probably almost all the clusters will look good on here because it's a nice neutral background. I think that one looks nice on there. I don't care for that one actually. Let's see, what else do I have here? Here's a smaller one. One of my smaller tags here. Like that would look nice on there, or this one. Yeah, I like it on there. That looks nice on there. So if you have, you know, if you made, I think it was on week 2 of the neutrals that I did the clusters, and if you have clusters, then it's so easy to dress something up. This one's not quite big enough for there, but like that. I mean, they just sort of look good. Your background is busy enough with all of those things on it. Here's another one with that same bird. Or is that a different one? No, it's the same bird but a different cluster, so that looks good. And I think that would look good with my journal as well. So I'm going to play around here. I'm going to glue a few clusters on. I'm going to probably see if I can make some that are really neutral, if I don't already have some neutral, really neutral looking clusters here. I'm not going to make you watch me dig through my whole pile here. But I know I have some that are just pretty neutral. I also have some of these really sparkly ones. That one, or like this. I think that would look nice. Or this one here, Peace of God. I like that. I really like that one. So I'm just going to play around with these and put a few clusters together. They don't all have to be neutral, but I'll do some neutral. And then I'll come back and I'll show you my final result. Well, I'm very pleased with how these turned out. A big, huge pile of ephemera just from that one masterboard. I still have the second one that I started showing you to do, so I'll have even more than this, but you saw me do this whole background. I haven't inked around all of them. I started to, but I often do inking when I'm watching something or editing a video or something like that. So I will finish this process while I'm doing that. I sewed around the edges. I did a little bit of straight stitching and a little bit of zigzag stitching here. And I can't actually, this has been a day or two since I filmed it before, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But I stitched, I put the clusters on. I know I showed you what I was planning to do with that. Some of them are fairly neutral, some of them are not, so I'll use some of them in different projects, but it's just nice to have them ready to go. And then I just had this spool of just kind of burlap ribbon here. It's actually got wire in it. I don't need the wire in it, but I just put a little tab on each one of them and used my Crop-A-Dile to punch a hole through everything and set an eyelet in the middle of it. So these are ready to go. So I'll just maybe quickly go through them. This one is a little more neutral. So I'm really happy with how these turned out, and because the clusters were already made, it was very quick to decorate them. So this one is this way. Some of them I put the tabs on the top, some of them, this one I offset a little bit. I think a couple of them, this one I put on the side. So, and you can put a little dangle here, which I probably will do on some of them. Just put a little jump ring and a little charm or a bulb pin or something on there. I think that would look good too. So this one I actually found, I was gonna put this cluster on here, and then I realized it's a paper clip. So I thought, well, that's kind of fun. I'll just leave it like a paper clip, and then I can paper clip this to my journal if I want, or I can take the pieces apart and do it. So I thought I would just show you how it's pretty easy how I'm doing the tabs, but I thought I would just show you anyway. Because my ribbon has a wire in it, I'm using just an old pair of scissors. I don't want to wreck my good scissors cutting through the wire. And you can take the wire out, but I didn't find it necessary, I guess. I just fold it in half. Here's a small one. So I may just put it on the side here. Don't want to hide the bird, but yeah, I think I like it right there. So I'll punch a hole with my Crop-A-Dile. Get one of my eyelets. And set it. So there's another one done. Just adds another little, a little bit of fabric texture, a little bit of metal texture. Just makes it a little more interesting. I think I'll leave the strings dangling. For now, I may trim it on each individual project. We'll see. This one, I thought, because there's a bit of red on here, I thought I might do a red eyelet on that one, which might be kind of fun. This one has a tag shape, so I'm just going to put the tab in the middle. You don't have to, but this one I haven't inked around yet. Here's a red eyelet. So this will definitely go into a journal that has some red in it. And there. I think that looks great. Some of them I will want to put something to write on the back. I decided to do like all the stitching and this part, so I'm not going to write, well, I could write directly on here as well. But if I wanted to write, I could just put like, a partial mat, something like this. I could, just do like that. I could even cut it down, or I could just write straight on there, or I could put a, another little journal card or whatever I want, or just leave it like that. That would look fine too. So I'll just put little tabs on those ones, and then I will be done. So thanks so much for watching this project. It was really fun to put these together, and aside from the waiting for things to dry, it really didn't take time at all, and it was just a really relaxing, fun multimedia project. So I hope you'll give this a try and make yourself some beautiful ephemera. Thanks for watching. Blessings.